Alright, another video where I have no idea what I'm going to talk about before I start it, but, I mean, I was feeling like I didn't want to make a video, and, well, then I saw some guy's name's Channeling Your Soul's Purpose, Shibugi Max? I don't know, looking at that guy, he's got a whole bunch of stuff that's pretty cool. Um, but he said in this video, he was like, you just need to ask yourself, what can I give right now? And typically what you can give right then, unless you're a very affluent, opulent person who's got a whole bunch of, I suppose, physical wealth, physical abundance to share. Typically, what you can share is a natural talent that you have. And for me, as much as it took me a long time to admit it, mine happens to do with just speaking to people. And I think that's an art form just like poetry, just like knitting hats for little animals like your pets. Like I think that's legit. I wish I knew how to do that. I could definitely learn how to do that. But someone, if you're out there and you really enjoy doing that, that's what you should share. Whatever your natural inclination is definitely, well, I mean, it's what you're good at, so you're not going to stress about it. You're not going to be like, oh, am I doing this right? The only way you get to that point is comparison. And I mean, I already talked about comparison in a different video. But yeah, like do what comes to you naturally, and take confidence in it, and know that you can do it every day. You can do it every other day, but just do it when it strikes you, when it feels right. I didn't feel right to me to make this video right away, but then after seeing someone else's input, I was like, what else do I do that I really wish, well, that I enjoy as much as I do as this, and it's just about nothing. I mean, I definitely prefer a real conversation, like sitting there with someone. Not that this is an imitation that pales in comparison, because it's not. It's almost like an equal and different love, um, which is pretty awesome. I think that, I mean, that probably goes to show that you can have passions, multiple passions, and they could be equal, or they can be not equal, and they can come and go from your life. Like this type of video stuff might take a break for a while if I do happen to end up traveling. So be okay with whatever your passion is. Let it be your passion, because it's going to make it a lot easier to do work, because it's not really work, right? What do they say? They say if you pursue your passion or do what you love, and you won't work a day in your life. I think that's really true. But if you're in a similar situation as me, you've probably lived through a culture that told you from day one, well, if you pursue your passion, you better have a financial tie-in to that, rather than, I don't know, doing it for free. And I'd be a liar if I didn't say like I didn't want any sort of payback for this. But like I'm content with this because I really enjoy it. I really enjoy it because if I can give someone else advice, one other person advice that actually benefited them, actually showed them more unconditional love than they've experienced in their life, then I suppose that's about as good as it gets. That's about as good as it gets. And the bottom line is, all of my needs have been met for almost all of my life. And I can't even think of like a specific thing where I'm like, oh, my needs weren't met. I just don't remember my life in 100% totality. And I know that there are people like that. I used to think that that wasn't true, that people were just coping and they wanted to be able to be like, I can remember everything. But there are people who are like that. And that's awesome. That's really awesome. I'm sure that there are things they wish they could forget. So everything is a double-edged sword. But anyway, do your passion in whatever shape and form it comes. Like I just like I can't imagine anything greater than like sitting down at a bar and talking to someone, and they're like, "Oh yeah, my career is knitting hats for cats." I think I would be awestruck. I know I would be awestruck. Like I'm getting chills thinking about it. It's just so everybody has something. But a lot of times people will lie to themselves about what that is. And also we live in I was going to touch on this earlier when I was talking about the financial tie-in, like everything's got to be for your benefit rather than just for the joy of it. I think if you genuinely just pursue the things that you enjoy, then your life will play out for you on autopilot almost, because you're doing what you were meant to do. And if you subscribe to the idea that there's a divine path, then that makes sense to you. If you don't function from that perspective, then it's going to be a little bit harder probably to take in, but I would really implore you to function on that logic, at least for a little bit. Do it in a small way until proven enough to you that you can employ it in a larger way in your life, and you realize that it really is a cheat code to just do what you love. Um, but yeah, I guess I do want to talk a little bit more about the culture. Like, and well, here's the thing: is I've come to the conclusion that everything I experience is just a reflection of my internal state. Um, so when I say we have a culture problem, it's a, well, what was I worried about problem, or what did I believe about other people problem, and it's not really a problem, right? It's just an experience to be accepted, not something to be scoffed or judged. Just preferred or not preferred, and once you identify what you prefer, you just go with that, and you don't put others down for not being of the same path as you, of the same preference as you. So, if I wanted to talk about culture, how would I phrase that? Through the experiences I've had and the culture that I've experienced, it seems like who's they? Society presents you with many, many options. Some of them more secure than others, some of them absolutely insane, and some of them sacrifice your internal integrity for physical wealth. Um, Not to get too specific or anything. Um, but what does this stop you from doing? When you hit analysis paralysis, right? Like this, like, you go into a bagel shop and there's like 27 different bagels, to quote that incredible comedian who I feel bad for not knowing his name. Um, like you hit that analysis paralysis and you're like, oh, well, what do I choose? All of them seem like they're going to be good, or half of them are bad and half of them are good, and that's still too many choices. Um, the reality is there's probably exactly one choice, or actually that's not true. There's probably three or four choices that would be banger, and you won't know until you try, right? But when given all of these solutions to problems that you didn't even have, that they told you that you had, now you have to choose from that bucket of options rather than pursuing the only one that makes logical sense to you when you're a kid, which is to do what you love. So, I say all that in that very roundabout way just to say, do what you love. And I love monologuing, I guess. I love trying to give input to other people that they would find validating. That's probably because I didn't give myself a lot of validation when I was on the earlier steps of my journey. But now I just think about the fact that my needs are met. Like, I always, like, anytime I get, like, flustered, I'm just like, well, I mean, like, do I have four walls? Like, do I have food and water? Do I have loving relationships with people? Like, I don't have a significant other, I suppose, but it doesn't bother me like it used to, because I have all that love. Like, I just I just have all my needs met. And I think if you're like me, you probably need to just take a deep breath and think about the fact that all of your needs are actually met, and that most of the stress you're experiencing is because of a world that told you you needed something that's a solution to a problem that you didn't perceive as a problem initially. But I mean, now you're obsessed with this idea of, for me, I would say the biggest struggle that I have had is the pursuit of physical wealth. Um, but the reality is all my needs are met. All my needs are met. And abundance comes in many forms. And I'd rather have perfect timing and be lucky, serendipitous, if you will. I'd rather have serendipity than just physical wealth, because physical wealth is just trying to handle all of the complex problems of life in a very simple manner. So, yeah, all of that all over the place, everything everywhere all at once, that kind of idea. I hope that helps you. I love you, and please take care.